We are live. Well, we're almost live. Sam is going to turn the sound on the television down. But it's fine because Instagram is telling our followers that we have started a live video.
Hello, hello.
Hello. This is our first live together.
Well, it's our second live. The first was a trial.
A preamble.
That we are
Craig.
two personalities that should be on
We should be editable.
edit.
That's right.
So Angela has asked us to do this again, and we're definitely going to try again.
Hello,
Thanks,
Craig. Nice to have you with us. We are waiting for our special guest to arrive. Well, when we say guest, firstly, Sam and I are holidaying together. It is Mummy. Why are you still awake in South Africa? Hello. But we've just had the most gorgeous day out. We've been at Castle Combe in the English countryside and at Laycock, which is like where some of Harry Potter was filmed. We've had one of these wonderful days, and then we sort of, but we're in that weird period between Christmas and New Year where you don't actually know what day it is. In fact, what day is it?
It's the 30th.
No, but is it a Monday or it's Tuesday? It's Tuesday. You don't know, partly because you're just in a haze of food and lack of sleep and, oh yes, let's go. It's kind of Christmas and then it's New Year. And in the between that is this time when your body's basically made up of leftovers. And then suddenly, within all of that, we are expected to make, hello P.
Hello, beautiful.
Hi, how are you?
Fine, you. I mean, my background's not as festive as yours. I feel like I should walk down to my Christmas tree.
You like my Christmas tree? Well, you're welcome to do that if you want to. Go and find
Alrighty.
yourself a tree. Well, you would be the good description of that. We're the gap between Christmas and New Year. You can be New Year. We're still stuck in Christmas.
Angela's not leaving Christmas.
I refuse. I refuse to leave Christmas. Hello, everyone who's hopping on. So, what we were saying, my pie, and thank you so much for joining us at the very last minute. But we were just saying that, you know, that we're in that gap between Christmas and New Year where you don't know what day it is of the week. You don't really know what to do with yourself because you're kind of between celebrating. And basically, your body is just made up of leftovers and lack of sleep. You know, in our case, we don't really consume much alcohol, but
we've consumed a whole bunch of trifle.
The two of us singularly finished a massive bowl of trifle. And suddenly, between social media and our own unconscious bias or just society around us expects us to make these great big life-changing decisions by midnight about how we're going to reinvent our lives for 2026, and that all just seems a little bit cray-cray. So we thought we would hop on and do a not us little live with my bestie Pie. And but before we start, and this P, if you've got a disclaimer, but I'm sure that this is part of it. Firstly, Not Us Podcast, for those of you who don't know, is a podcast by two sisters, myself, Angela, my hottie sister here, Samantha, where we discuss change, choices, and we celebrate all those messy bits in between.
We're not licensed doctors, therapists, gurus, or witches. The opinions shared in this episode are our own, subjected to change, and for entertainment only.
She's remembered her script.
Swearing is likely, and remember to like, subscribe, and do all that jazz. But with 30 hours left, or where we are, it's 30 hours. Where you are, P, it's even 28 hours until the clock strikes.
2026.
How did you work that out? Oh my goodness.
Let me maybe ask a question. Let's kick it off with a question.
Okay.
30 hours, 28 hours, wherever you are in the world. 2025 is coming to a close. How is 2025 for you? How would you describe that?
And feel free to pop in our chat as well.
You, Angela, pop it into our chat.
How was 2025 for me?
Well, it was the year of the snake, so I can tell you there was a lot of shedding.
Yes, shedding, crying.
Yeah, it was. I'm not unhappy to say goodbye to 2025. Just saying.
Yeah. How was it for you?
It was a cacophony of all the feels, but I think I was busy journaling earlier, and the three words that came up for me was magic, power, and release. Really all those three, because I was trying to condense it down to one. I'm like, I can't, because they're so different. So it actually, there were lulls and moments of limbo and where things weren't quite aligning, and I was in a bit of a, let's not use the word panic, but there were moments of feeling very out of control and not enjoying it. But overall, it's been a good one.
A mixed bag. Yeah, a mixed bag. Highs and lows and all the in-between bits.
Indeed.
I love that. So when you were journaling, were you doing a review of your year?
Yes, absolutely. Always a review. Because we always say that there were lessons that we learned, but if we don't actually look at what the lessons are, we're not going to learn from them to take them forward and embody them. So I always look back at what worked, what could I have done differently, what do I want more of, what do I want to release more of, and a few other questions in between. So so it's been profound. I've already had one or two little moments that have just, those little like aha moments that have just joined hands and all of a sudden make sense.
Yeah. I love that. I just want to say hello to everyone who's just been joining. And you know what we haven't done in the middle of this question is just for those of you who are hopping on as well. Petra, she doesn't only go as my bestie. She actually has a whole bunch of credentials behind her that she comes with as well, including published author. She's a keynote speaker. She is the founder of Just One Thing 365, focusing on awareness around animals, humans, animals, and the planet. She is an award-winning speaker. Let me add to that, Africa Award. So there's a massive, massive big bag of work that she does in terms of helping people rebrand. You're all about helping people to become the best versions of themselves that they can be, and then to contribute some of that to the rest of the world. So thank you so much for being here with us as we welcome more guests to join us. But P, in terms of that, when you go into a new year and you say you're reflecting, people might look at that and go, but what more can you add to your life? Like, you look like you've got it all. Like, what more can you possibly give? What more can you work on? Where do you start? Because I know you do amazing workshops, and we will talk about it a little bit later on, just about, how to create and how to, try and put it all in one place so that it makes sense. So for you.
What was the question though?
Well, you look like you've got everything. So what do you ask a girl to come up with when she looks like she's got all of her shit together already?
Yes. Thank you. Sorry, I was wondering, I'm getting distracted by my two dogs that are snoring in the background. So I'm like, okay, but you can't hear them. Well, thanks. You know me. I was going to use the word intimately, which that I like using, but it's different. But there is, oh good grief, so much more. I really, there is so much more that I want to create. And Pudding, aka Ange, you've been integral in this. Hello, Arnie. That's Ange's kitty. You've really been integral in this, in my getting to a point where I'm so open and excited to receive more. You and I were both really involved in the church and, Christianity and all that. So it was always, the belief was it's always better to give than to receive, right? So for me, it's been stepping into how much more can I receive. So I just want to say thank you for hitting me over the head with the baton, with the receiving baton.
Literally.
Quite. So it's just about stepping into more aligned magic. So not just saying, okay, well, whatever's going to come is going to come, and having intentions, but rather having aligned intentions. So stepping into not just the stuff, but the energy that I want to create more of. So that's really how my work has shifted over the years, is it's not what I want so much as what do I want my year to feel like? What is that embodiment? And then every single day aligning who I am, how I show up, what I believe in, and changing what I need to change so that it stays in alignment with that, so that it can #manifest.
Sorry, we just distracted because I'm petrified of cats and Arnie's about to jump on my lap.
It's something she's working on for the new year. Arnie's helping her, and he's trying to jump on her. He's passing his food.
Arnie's, what a great Arnie's being
right now. I love that. I love that what you're saying about you don't necessarily need to know all the details of exactly how you want to micromanage your hair or create your year ahead. But if you can find that energy or that vibe of what you'd like your year to feel like and be like, that's a great place to start, because otherwise it feels so overwhelming. Like I need to, and also it feels like you've got to by midnight. Like it's like the genie, you get 3 wishes. If by midnight we haven't put down the 5 things that we want, that's it. It's all the time we get.
Yeah, resolutions.
Yeah. You got to have those resolutions in, and if it's not in by midnight, that's it. You can't, you can't choose more for the year. And then, of course, we know a few days later.
If you haven't sat under the dining room table with your 12 grapes and made those wishes, then it's not going to happen, right?
I just saw a great message this year sometime on Instagram that said, the universe is not on a budget, so dream wildly and big, and ask for what it is that you want. And I think that's important to know, right? Is that, and I think in terms of my own life, your words are so powerful, but it's the energy that's associated to those words. And if I think back in terms of what my focus for this year was, it was to be more like water. Now, I probably should have been a little bit more specific.
You ran Bruce Lee. Flow like water.
I should have said flow like water.
Not be drowned.
Be drowned by
emotion.
But I think, no, continue, P.
No, I was just saying specificity with what you were saying.
Yeah, yeah. Be clear in terms of what it is that you want, and allow the universe, whatever you want to call it, God, to deliver bigger and better.
Yeah. Well, here's a message for you in the chat. Thank you very much, Arts and Culture. Pause are the best. Key pause are the best. Don't be scared of those who love unconditionally. Thank you for that pearl of wisdom. Take that to your phobia. Lay that at the feet of your phobia. I digress.
I accept the unconditional love. I accept the unconditional love.
Yeah. So. Yeah. So I'm wondering if we couldn't, P, maybe just do a quick little exercise with everyone's on here, and maybe if you want to pop this in the chat. But I would like to ask, what is one thing, if we look back, as you know, sometimes it's great to look back so you can look forward. But what is the one thing that you are really proud of that you've achieved in 2025?
And proud of surviving.
Yeah, or proud of surviving, or proud
achieving.
Of thriving through, whatever that might be. Won't you pop us? Hello, everyone who's joining. Pop into the chat. But P, what might that be for you?
Sure, that's such a great question, Ange. That's a really powerful question. Right, because we're not just looking at everything we're celebrating, we're looking at what we survived as well, because there's, that's huge. That's really, really massive that we can carry in with us as kind of a celebration of, hey, I overcame more than I thought I could have, or whatever that story is. I think for me, it's something I'm really proud of that I overcame, so I'll kind of join them, is, I've been putting in all the work with past relationships and hurt, etc. And this year, because of all the work I've been putting in, but I put myself in a position where I could actually release, I could actually forgive and move on. And that was really, really fundamental because it affected so many other areas of my life. So that was really great that, I had to put myself in a position of cracking myself open, doing the ugly, messy work so that I could get there. And I think that's maybe what so many people avoid because it's uncomfortable and we don't want to look at it. But I think for me, it was just really looking at it, having the courage and the bravery to unapologetically look at my part in things and then release the story. So many times the hurt and the trauma is because the story that we've created that we attach to whatever happened. So it was really finally about releasing the story. So there's the stuff, accomplishments that I've achieved work-wise, etc., which is great. But for me, this has been really pivotal because it's just liberated me in so many ways. There's been an ease and a lightness versus being, burdened by stories of hurt and trauma, etc., etc. So it's something I've been working on this year. Really, really managed to just release it in the most beautiful way.
I love that.
Yeah.
That reminds me of that. There's a quote about where those cracks where your heart has been broken are where the light can really shine through. Beautiful. And I always love that, because sometimes when we think of having like a broken heart or anything like that, it feels like it's something that's got to be closed. Those wounds need to be shut, closed, and it needs to be padded and hidden. But actually, those beautiful cracks allow our most beautiful inner light to shine through into the world. So
how do you heal them as opposed to allowing them to be part of a beautiful picture? But thanks for that, P. I mean, I think that's a beautiful thank you for sharing that with us, and it comes from back or from the episode that you were on with dating. We know that sometimes it's easier to hold into the story as opposed to let it go. What are you proud of? What did you survive, or what do you feel that you achieved?
I feel like, so this is my second year in living in London. And first year was just literally survival. Like, that was just something that was a whole nother conversation. And so this year I've been able to start moving beyond that and start creating my life again. So I'm really proud of the fact that I was able to, that I have a support structure, and I had the discipline and the various things it required to start just kind of finding my space in the world again. That's something I'm really proud of Sam and I for, trying this new little podcast. For those of you who joined us, thank you. And for the time that you've given us this year. You all have to start somewhere and create. So just finding new things to play with and to create. Just trying to as well make my way through menopause for me, but those things that we do at our stage of life,
post-menopause.
For those of you who haven't listened to our menopause, this is a great segue to go and listen to the menopause episode. So I'm just kind of, it's not surviving, but I'm able to start thriving, and it's just those little steps. So I'm really proud of the fact that I've been able to do that.
Beautiful.
Yeah. And you?
Similar to Petra, in terms of not getting so stuck in the story, and just setting the intention of not being bitter, and figuring out how to find forgiveness and closure even when it's not offered to you. Because I think that's the important part for me, is to get through this year not with very little anger. And maybe that's the water connection, rather to flow with what's coming through. And I mean, there were times this year that it felt like I was drowning in what I was experiencing. So to get to December 30th a little lighter, and just with a lot more positivity in terms of what is available for next year. I mean, by no means is my life perfect or where I expected it to be, but at least energetically, I'm feeling more open to possibilities.
What else is possible?
Yes, what else is possible?
Yeah.
I think back 6 months ago, I mean, just surviving, just getting through the day was pretty tough. So yeah,
that's beautiful.
That's my survival story.
Yes.
2025 is surviving and then thriving.
And thriving. And look, I am aware as well, some of you who are watching this post or maybe are now, you may not feel like you're thriving. And you may very well be in surviving, if,
just surviving this period.
Yeah.
Exhausted,
The festive season.
Family over for 2 weeks. You know, tired. But she's done brilliantly.
This little introvert extrovert's done very well. Thank you very much. It's been great fun. But yeah, so I'm thinking of people who might be on here or watching this afterwards who don't actually know where to start, P, in terms of thinking about how you want to create for next year. And look, we don't want to put all the pressure on, like literally midnight doesn't mean now you've got to have all of it together. And you don't even need to do this. You could wait until Chinese New Year if you want, but there is something natural that's seasonal. You know, when the seasons change, certain things happen. So as we close off a period of time, and we are tapped into the global awareness and energy, so it feels like the ending of something and the starting of something new. So if there are people who want to use this as a reset, or as a what do I want more of, what would you recommend as a good starting point to do that?
The tools.
What tools do you use?
Tools. Well, there are so many. I mean, there are so many that I share in the workshops, but I'll start with one where it's really to invite everyone to get out of your head. So the typical list that we create of what we want to achieve, and you can still do that another time, that's fine. So I'm not saying don't do it, but just to try something different maybe is to really learn to connect with your body. Like, when was the last time you got really excited or felt joy about something? So if you can remember that, so take yourself back to whatever that was, and it can be 2 weeks ago, it can be 20 years ago, it doesn't matter what it is. So we're not trying to analyze it, but just take yourself back to that feeling of joy or ease, whatever that was. It's take a few minutes to really feel it, how it felt in your body, to the point where you start smiling about it or start laughing about it. And then stay in that energy. And if you could create, if 2026 can be 10% more of that, how would your life change then? So that list, the to-do list of things you want to achieve, if you approach that from that energy of joy and fun, which we don't really look at as adults, right? Joy and fun aren't center focus of what us as adults want to achieve and be. It's not success or how we traditionally frame success. But what if we can still have the desired outcomes and achievements, but we rather focus on, okay, wow, where I felt the most like myself, where I felt the freest and the most embodied and having the most joy and fun and laughter. What if I can take that energy into the new year, and then how will everything change? So for me, going into that, stepping into figuring out what that energy is, and just being with that. So get out of your head of the list and just connect with that energy first. And then that's the intention that you set, like, okay, this is what I want to feel more of in the new year. And now what can I do? What can I be or do to invite more of that energy into my new year? So sometimes it's going to require us to change something, do something different. So I always work with my clients and I say, what is just one thing that you can start, stop, or change? To do.
Yeah, like that.
It's nice and easy.
I love that. What is one thing you can start, stop, or change? And I really love that, P, in terms of remembering that those moments of joy and fun, because that energy is creative energy. And so that is such a beautiful foundation because then you can start dreaming again. I mean, that was one of the big revelations for me when I was starting to recreate my life a bit more, was when did I stop dreaming? And we often do that as adults. We just somewhere along the way stop dreaming. And sometimes you're so deep in the pit or whatever, or on that downward spiral, that dreaming just is actually an irritating thought. Don't ask me to stop dreaming when I'm just trying to survive here. But I like what you're saying in terms of just remembering joy somewhere, because we all have that moment, or where you felt the most like yourself, which I really love, or the most comfortable, And from that space, just that little tingling, asking what else is possible now.
P, what would you say to someone who is not so familiar in terms of tapping into what I would call almost your heart space? What technique would you, because I know for me, I physically close my eyes and concentrate on my heart and what I'm feeling. And I'll do a body scan in terms of, whether you're grounding or if I'm lying down, just making sure I'm connecting with the earth. And if you're under a lot of pressure, it's really difficult to connect into your heart because you're, especially someone like me whose mind wants to rule every aspect of life. Do you have any techniques that you use in terms of tapping into that space? Because that will allow you to tap back into that memory of pure joy. But if you're very in your head, sometimes it can be impossible to think about when was the last time I felt real soul-centered joy.
Oh, that's so easy. And it's sometimes, and I preface this by saying to everyone, just because it seems so easy, please don't disregard it. And it's something called, so I don't want anyone to say, yes, we know this. So really, really just be with this for a moment. But it's literally just gratitude.
I love it.
Gratitude. Yeah. Literally, if it means you're getting, and again, it's change your environment. So get up, walk somewhere, go hug a tree, walk in the garden, go to a park, get out of your environment where you're thinking, where your mind is used to thinking. Yeah. And just ramble everything you're grateful for. So you're grateful for the green grass under your feet, or you're grateful for the snowflakes, or literally just envelop yourself in gratitude. And then it will start coming to you eventually. So focus on what you can see first, or hear, or touch, or smell. Yeah. So use your senses to do this gratitude journey with you. And eventually you're going to start remembering those moments of joy.
Yeah. That's even just being grateful for the stuff that's around you, identify it, right? To bring yourself back into the present moment.
Yeah.
Pete, can I ask you a question? So when you come to the beginning of the year, do you set resolutions or do you set intentions, and do you think there's a difference? And do you only do it in the beginning of the year, or?
Such a good question, Sam. So for me, there's definitely a difference between intentions and resolutions. Resolutions, if you think of just the word, the definition, it's to resolve something, to come to an end, to bring to the beginning. Which for the three of us, we know that it kind of ends possibilities. Yeah. So I don't look at resolutions because there is no end to the magic that we want to create in our lives. So why would we? So for me, it's the intentions. And intentions, though, I have to say that, and I know as I'm thinking it, I know that it sounds like an oxymoron, but setting intentions without being intentional and aligning the actions is also pointless.
Good point.
Because so many people, it's like the New Year's resolutions that we don't achieve. So we have these lists, but if we're not intentional, if we aren't, like the title of my book, Living on Purpose, if we aren't being intentional with our thoughts, our behaviors, our beliefs, how we show up in the world, which is aligned. That's the big thing for me. It's the alignment with who we are, what we believe in, and what we stand for. If the intentions we're setting don't align with who we are, they're never going to be manifested. They're never going to be fulfilled. So it's definitely about, okay, these are the intentions, but now am I the person that truly believes in this intention? Yeah. Am I going to be able to create it in my life or invite it into my life? I'll use a quick example. I was a while ago talking about, I wanted to get better. I wanted to start practicing receiving even more because there's blocks, right? We kind of uncover it. And I had this moment where I'm like, okay, that's it. God, universe, I'm going to start receiving more. Yeah. I kid you not. It wasn't even half an hour later. My dad wanted to gift me, just out the blue, he wanted to gift me some money, a few $100. And I was like, no, for what? He's like, no, just because I can. I'm like, no, Dad, please, you don't have to give me money. Like, why? I don't want money from you. We argued for ages. And he's like, Scott, I just want to bless you. I'm like, Dad, please, keep your money, go do something else, I'm fine. After that, I was like, Petra, You literally said you're going to start practicing. So that was the intention, is I want to start practicing receiving more. But I was still in that belief of it's better to give than to receive. And I'm independent. I don't need anyone's help. So that's why I'm saying alignment is so important. So if your intentions and who you are and what you say and what you believe aren't aligned with that, those intentions are never going to manifest. So a bit of a long-worded answer, Sam. Sorry.
Great. That was great.
It makes me think of, like, from the Bible, asking you'll receive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, but it doesn't mean that you'll receive in the way that you think you're going to receive. So just be open to receiving. I love that.
Actually, to follow on from that, we were having a conversation and the other day around dinner, and I thank Nathan, thank you, says we're looking super festive girls.
Hello,
but
Nathan.
we were talking about as well, you know, sometimes we go into like if we're thinking about going into the new year, or you're looking to change at any point in time in the year, if you want to create something else or have different choice, sometimes we feel like and this came up because I like arrived in the UK and then I'm trying to make the same choices I did for myself as I did when I was in South Africa. So, you know, I think, okay, this year I'm going to go back to boxing. I'm going to make sure I get back into Argentine tag, you know, like all of those things that I was doing. But I didn't stop to go, body, actually, what do you want now? You're in a completely different space. And what is around me? What is practical for me? You know, conscious choice, consciously making those decisions or setting those intentions. Because then otherwise you set yourself up for failure. And so we were talking about that. And even if you think of yourself, you know, if you're in a couple or as a partnership, like those things that you perhaps choose to do together. So maybe that can be something simple like, actually, I'd like to learn a new language this year. Can you? Have you got time for that? You know, have you got that? You know, so it's just being a little bit more, and it doesn't need to be a whole bunch of stuff. So it might just be, while we have literally got the founder of just one thing, 365 on, it might be one thing. Like, what one thing can you add to your life? Maybe it is, as you're saying, just keeping a gratitude journal, because we know that that basically opens you up to a whole new world of things that are possible. But like it does feel, and suddenly we've got to pick a whole bunch of stuff. We've got to put everything into one thing. So I love how practical and simple you're making it, P, in terms of gratitude, finding that feeling, making a conscious choice. And the cat is back to scare the living daylights
Hello,
out
Arnie. Helping you overcome, Sam.
Next. Okay. My phone battery has just said that we were on low mode, so I think we've only got a couple of minutes more to talk about. So what else do we want to talk about that you think is really important as we go from resolving 2025 to intentionally moving into 2026 and creating more for our lives?
Yes. I think for me, it's definitely not about adding more, exactly to your point, Ange. It's not always about adding more and more. So it's not about upskilling. And, you know, so many times where I want to grow my business or I want to make more money or whatever it is I need to do more or learn more or add more. All of that, again, I'm going to go back to clarity and alignment. Clarity, alignment, and intention. But intention in terms of being purposeful. If those three aren't there, if you aren't really, really crystal clear, not kind of fluffy, superfluous stuff, but crystal clear on who you are and what you stand for and what you believe in and the life that you want to create. So it's getting the clarity with that first. And then it's, what do I need to start, stop, and change to align with that? So it's really a simple framework. I mean, there's complexities within it, sure, but if we can boil it down to that, I think it can really help shift some things. Hello,
yeah,
Arnold.
I love that. And I also, what I really love is maybe we shouldn't be looking so much at what can I, if you can't think about what you want to choose for the new year, think about what you can stop doing from 2025 that'll allow you to have more space, will allow us to have more space to create. Because sometimes we want to create more, but our lives are so jam-packed, and I'm preaching to myself right now. You've got so much going on from the minute you wake up to the minute you close your eyes that you can't fit anything more in. We say we want a relationship, or we say we want, you know, more time to do hobbies, but we don't stop doing anything to make space for that. So what can we, I love that. What can we start, stop, or
Change.
change?
And
it's
just
really
something
looking at your life. It's looking at your life like a plate. What can you, like, what's the most important parts? You know, is it like health? Is it relationships? Is it work? Whatever it is. And then realizing you only have 100%. And what does that look like? And how do you divide that? Because you can't be 100% on 100%. So you've got to figure out what are the 3 most important things that you want to focus on. And then allot time and energy to that.
Something there to help you figure what those 3 things are, for example, is write down everything you're grateful for in all those areas, because, you know, the 10 areas in our lives. So business, relationships, finances, partnerships, social, whatever those are. And then just write gratitude. The ones that bring you the most anxiety or the heaviest, those are the ones that you look at. So those are the ones that need some attention. And what you were saying there, to that point with, you know, what can you leave behind, because we add so much. Something that just came up for me as well is also, if we take this opportunity to check in with our identity, so who we say we are, because maybe things aren't aligning and there isn't ease in our lives, or we're feeling overwhelmed because we aren't the person that we were when we set these intentions 10 years ago. So maybe it's a great opportunity to, before you even get to writing all of that, just actually, do I still want this stuff? Do I still believe in that? 100%. Because there, maybe it's, okay, well, you know, I always, you know, and when you said in South Africa, you know, you loved your boxing and your Argentine tango, which doesn't mean you don't. But right now where you are, you looked at it for yourself and like, okay, well, actually, what is practical now? How can I change this? So maybe it's identity shifting as well. It's, you know, it's that story again, letting go of a story that maybe we've clung onto for so long that's keeping us stuck, not taking that identity that no longer serves us, or that snake skin, if we're looking at the year of the snake, and shedding that part of our identity that is no longer us. And that's I mean, it's a big thing to do, you know, letting go of what I've always said I wanted, or who I thought I was, or so that's going to take some courage and bravery to step out of that and into who you truly are.
Let it go. Let it go. Blah, blah, blah. Yes, 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 yes to all of that. P, I thank you so much. You have such a beautiful way of making this so practical. For those of you who are watching now live or afterwards, where can people get hold of you, see what courses and classes you're coming up? Because I know you were doing vision boarding classes. I mean, that's just one of the many, many amazing things, life coaching and all sorts of things. Where can people find you? And is there anything that you want to share that's coming up?
Thank you. So I'm actually currently updating my website. So hopefully that will be done in the next couple of months, where I will have a landing page with everything that I'm offering. But for now, just, you know, I would love for everyone just to stay in connection with me on social media, or else my name and surname .com. So petralaranjo.com, the website, or else social media, and just keep an eye on what I'm sharing. Or if you really want something specific, welcome to DM me and say, hey, when is your next class with this? Or I need help here. What do you have coming up? Because I'm constantly creating, and I don't always share everything timelessly. So if you need anything, let me know. So thank you.
The pie to my pudding. And for those, thank you. And for those of you who are also watching, although we were on my profile, it's because we discovered as we went live that in order to go live on a business account, you need at least 1,000 followers. We are busy building our way up to there, and I'm Not Us podcast, but we're not there yet. So please subscribe, like, follow us
and share.
Yeah, on YouTube, Spotify,
Instagram, Facebook,
Apple Podcasts. So you can find us all around. That's Not Us podcast, and you can hear Sam and I generally bantering and
maybe before we close
drinking tequila.
I think what is important to say is that you don't have to wait until the 1st of Jan. You can set your intentions, and to what you've just said, Petra, it's important to take a snapshot of yourself every now and again, because in a 10-minute period, you can change. Your priorities could be different. And so it is important, as you said, you do a review. You can do that on a monthly basis, weekly basis, whatever it works for you, and then think about what's still relevant.
Yeah. And in closing, what's just come to my mind is life is what happens while we're making other plans. So make sure that you are putting in some work. Follow Petra, chat to us, find whoever resonates with you in this broad world of amazing people out there that can offer you tools, so that you are always able to cope with whatever comes your way.
Petra, thank you for joining us tonight, and have the very best New Year's Eve.
Happy New Year, everyone.
Cheers.
Thank you, lovelies.
Every time. Every time.
One day when I'm will be joining you on the tequilas, lovelies.
Bye-bye, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Have a beautiful end to 2025.
See you in 2026.
Love y'all.
Bye, Pete.
Bye.
Bye, beautifuls. Bye, everyone.